Welcome to the Hustle Table, where we talk about all things side hustle, whether that's your day job, whether that's your side hustle, or whether it's money management. It's also about not seeking for a space at the table, but creating your own table and creating your wealth. My name's Natalie, and I've got 10 years in banking and finance, and I'm joined by my co-host.
Hi guys, I'm Aisha. I've worked in various different industries, but right now I'm an entrepreneur and a finance coach. And I'm excited today because we have two special guests today. We have Tiana and Lamaya in the building. So I'm gonna give you guys 1 minute to introduce yourselves. Tiana, let's go.
Hi guys, I'm Tiana Aremi. I am a producer in marketing as well as a content creator in marketing as well. I started my career in TV production and then I moved into marketing where I work with major brands from car, fashion, tech, and I also create my own content and I do major brands with brands like PLT, I Saw It First, ASOS, or your fashion brands.
Hi, I'm Lamaya Sheree. I'm the founder of the All Party Parliamentary Group on Race and Education. It's the largest cross-party group in the Houses of Parliament. I'm also the director of Enact, which is a political campaigns company. So I worked in Parliament for many years as an advisor and then resigned, set up my own company, studied politics at Cambridge University, so a pretty linear path into the career that I'm in today.
So we got some powerful black women in the seat. And I think it's really nice because me and Aisha was talking the other day, and I think there has been many occasions where I haven't walked into a room like this, right? Yeah. So it's nice to be around positive, empowering, inspiring black women. But I think today I want to delve into the conversation of being the only black women in the room and what that feels like. So I'm gonna ask you guys, have there been any occasions where you've been the only black woman in the room that you're open to sharing with us?
I think for me, it was when I started in TV production. I think I started as soon as I came out of uni. I legit started on set, probably X Factor. And I was the only, well, there's two of us. And I was like, out of 160 crew, there's only two black women. Are you kidding me? And then, I'm not being funny, the other girl, she wasn't really black. Yeah. You know, the ones you meet, they try and like distance themselves from blackness. Yeah. So realistically, I was the only one who was the black woman in the room. And I think I found it really hard to navigate in those types of spaces, because every time I'd go into a new set, it was the same thing, just middle-aged, middle class, white with people. And at first you feel like a unicorn. I won't lie, I was a bit gassed because people asked me, oh, what do you do? TV production? Oh my days, like you're black and you do TV. It was a unicorn moment, and then I was like, actually, this doesn't feel right. So like I would make a conscious effort to, you know, bring my friends in, bring people in who probably didn't have the connections but wanted to get in and kind of bring them onto shows that I was working on. I eventually met someone who was in a senior role who was a black woman, and I got so gassed. I was like, oh my gosh, like I've been waiting for this moment. She was a witch. She was no. And this is my issue, yeah, I'm so sorry. Like, it's great to have black people in the room, but they have to be the right black people. And we have these moments where it's like, how do you define blackness, or who do you define as black? Because there's so many conversations around it. But I didn't realize the way she was with me was because she actually was raised by white people. So I figured that out when I started having a conversation with her daughter. And I was like, makes sense why she's evil. Because seriously, she genuinely didn't like how I was so, because I'm a Nigerian, I come from a Nigerian background, like, or more, we are very expressive, we're very like, all we know is ourselves, like, and that is part of my identity. I came in my interview, I came in a massive fur coat. I was like, oh my, whatever. And she just looked, this is literally how she looked at me when I walked in. I have the longest braids, and she was just so confused by it. But from when I got my job and I got promoted, she made it her task to make everything harder for me. And then I will never forget, there was one guy who did an internship with us. He came out of prison and he was like, you lot can be around this fake bullshit, but I can see right through her. And I was like, whoa, like someone else from outside can see it. So it's nice to have people in the room, but they have to be the right people. And it's important to have, you know, black faces in senior positions, but they have to it has to be the right heart behind it, because not everyone who looks like us is for us.
What about yourself?
No, it's all right. No, 'cause you know what? So many of the points that you said like made me think about also like government ministers and like where we are today. Obviously, I work in politics, and it's like a massive debate about like how do you define blackness, and also how people behave or what policies they might put in place. They might think it's for the cause, whereas in reality, when you look at the stats, it doesn't benefit black people, considering the fact that over 50% of black households are in poverty. Do you know what I mean? So, but anyway, not to go too much into politics. So in terms of my background, yes, I studied obviously at Cambridge. First I studied at Aston University in Birmingham, was not the only black person there. It's a super diverse uni. And I remember when I even went to the open day there, one of the first things that I loved about it was that there was a Martin Luther King Centre on campus.
I love that.
I've been pro-black since I was like really, really young, and I was going to different unis with my mum and dad to like see the campus. I saw that and I was like,
This is me.
didn't even care about like meeting tables. Or like, I saw that, and I saw that they did placement years as well, and I knew I was like, I'm going to work in Parliament at like 20 and during my placement year. There's a Martin Luther King Centre on campus at that uni. I'm going, and it was a really great uni. I had an amazing experience. Got my first job in Parliament during the placement year. It was a paid full-time job, and obviously I was one of the only black people in Parliament, obviously one of the youngest as well. But I think what was a really unique and like positive experience there was that there was a workplace equality network which was focused on race. So there were other black people in Parliament, other black colleagues and ethnic minority colleagues were all part of that network. And like at 20, there was like senior colleagues there who'd been there for years, and they were the right type of representation in the sense of supporting young black staff. It was an open forum where you can speak about like personal issues, trials and tribulations in the workforce, that sort of stuff. Obviously at Cambridge, again, one of the only few black faces in my college in particular, hardly any black people there. But I suppose I'd already learned how to navigate that system by being in Parliament from such an early age. Now, obviously, I own my own company. My staff are black. We're funded by a variety of different organisations, and we also partner with brands and companies as well. But a lot of the brands that we partner with have equality and diversity leads. A lot of those are black. So now the majority of my network in terms of my working profession is black, which is an amazing change, and also kind of it's a positive change, if I'm completely honest, because it means that your racial trauma isn't mined as it is when you work in EDI spaces in the corporate world. So yeah, it's definitely a transformation, but a transformation for the better, 1000%.
The politics thing is an interesting one, because I actually studied government and politics when I was in school, and I remember thinking, I don't think I will fit like in the politics world. Like I didn't see people that looked like me, so I kind of pulled out and went into banking. Not saying that banking and finance is any better, right? But yeah, it's definitely not. But I think it's nice to see the change, because that was like 15 years ago, right? And I think 15 years ago is a whole different ball game to what we're seeing now. I've jumped around the gun, but Aisha, I need to ask you your own experiences. I know you've got some.
Because she's complained on the phone.
Exactly. So please share.
I've had quite a few experiences of being the only black woman in the room, but one particular was when I went to go work in Abu Dhabi. And that was great, like I loved it. But a lot of my clients were from Saudi Arabia. So I used to have to go to Saudi a lot. And I'm female, like I'm black, like there's issues with that in Saudi. And I remember like my clients wouldn't speak to me. I had to have a male secretary speak on my behalf just because they wouldn't speak to me. So if he goes on holiday, I couldn't do anything because like he's on holiday, they won't speak to me. And I remember at that point in time, women weren't allowed to drive in Saudi. Women weren't allowed out past, I think it was like 6 or 7:30 in the afternoon without a male chaperone. And I remember like, I just wanted ice cream. Well, it was Baskin Robbins. I literally walked maybe like 100 meters to get this Baskin Robbins. On my way out, I didn't even get to eat the ice cream. I got stopped by police. I sat in a cell for a couple hours, maybe 16 hours. Cried the whole time. Cried the whole time because I was thinking, you know when you watch Banged Up Abroad, I was thinking, oh my God, and what will I tell my parents? What will I tell them? I went to, so, and that was purely because I'm a female. And even like in the UK, I've had a client say to me when they first met me, he was like, I wasn't expecting you to look like that. And I was like, what do you mean? And then he goes, nothing. Sat down, and then he said, oh, like, where are you from, like, originally? And
You
I
know,
said,
where are you really from?
Where are you really from?
from?
You're from the UK.
And I said, Nigeria. And he goes, oh, I'm so sorry.
Wow.
I said, excuse me. I said, sorry? Like, why are you apologizing? I'm proud of where I come from. And then he then goes, oh, you know, but I've heard there's a lot of like 417 in I said, firstly, it's 419, okay?
Oh.
So if you're going to use the terminology,
Please get it
it is
correct.
419. And secondly, how dare you? And then he proceeded to say, but you know, you're female, you know how to stay in your lane. And this is a client. It's not like, and I can't do anything. I couldn't do anything.
Did you report him?
I did, and nothing happened.
Yeah.
He was one of my wealthiest clients. He's not going anywhere. So, yeah, that's my experience of being the only black woman in the room, just to throw that out there. But I want to throw like a stat out there actually. So when you look at the top 1% of earners in the UK, black women are the least likely to be in that statistic. Why do you not think that is? Like, why are we not there? What's our issue? Not what's our issue, but like, why are we not in the top 1% of earners in the UK? Because we're all capable.
So I personally, I will say it's like systemic right from like early years. So I'm from a Caribbean background, and like Black Caribbean communities, for example, are the least likely group to go to university. So there's straight barriers there. Obviously, statistically, you're more likely to earn higher if you go to university, first of all. Second of all, as I said, half of black households are in poverty, right? I know that in the US, black women are more likely to be the sole breadwinner of households. I'm not sure whether it's the same in the UK, but I don't think the stats will be that slightly off. Third of all, public sector work, right? Black women are disproportionately located in public sector jobs, as we obviously know, cost of living crisis, but in general, like historically, public sector roles have paid less, right? So all of these issues tie into the reasons as to why black women are less likely to earn more, essentially.
I think we are still getting, and I personally, for me, like I'm still in the process of like, you know, understanding financial literature. So, you know, I honestly don't know.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here just for a little bit, because I do think it is definitely systemic. There was a statistic that I saw around women will not apply for a role unless they believe that they can do 80% of the job, right? I think as well, when we look at negotiating salaries, we find women don't negotiate their salary when they go into a role. So black women usually tend to, for example, if, you know, their CV, they don't feel like they are at a place where they can apply for a role, they won't, you know, apply for it. So I feel there needs to be an aspect of us backing themselves. And when I look at myself in my career, earlier on, I would never negotiate a salary. But if I don't negotiate that salary, who else is going to do that for me? So playing devil advocate, I do think there's an element that we have to take ownership of our own journeys.
We are breaking through it though.
We
like,
are.
And we're having more, like, I know it's a British taboo to like not talk about money, but I feel like we are breaking, because even a lot of women now, we are kind of out earning our partners.
Yeah.
And let's not forget side hustles that we're not paying taxes for. Not me, but side hustles that, you know, we're doing our thing. Like there's women in banking who are doing hair on the side,
Exactly.
who are doing social media on the side. There's so much streams of income now that people are not accounting for because, you know. But I would say that we are breaking through. Like it's not something that, like, thank God our parents came here and set a foundation, but it is something I believe that generations will break, like, you know.
Yeah, 1,000. I also think a lot of it is parenting as well. Not to put the onus on parents, but I know that when I was being brought up, my mum is a veteran when it comes to navigating systems, as in like she knows like, I don't even know where to begin, but even things like universities and making sure that you have like a good rapport with your lecturers, and then like getting your drafts checked over before. Like I got high grades all throughout university because like my mum would like teach me how to do these kinds of
But
things.
not everyone has that luxury.
Exactly, and the same with salaries. I negotiated my salary from right from the beginning up until, I mean, obviously now I own my own company, but my mum taught me how to do all of that. But I don't think the onus should even be on parents. I think we should be taught this in school and college.
But
at the end of the day-
whenever we always say this, but we're never going to be taught
I
this.
don't know
like-
actually, because I think society's changed, and I also think a change in government might happen. I'm not saying who I want to be in power, but I think looking at draft manifestos, I do think some change is happening, and I think it has to be in the education system. I don't think you should put all the responsibility on parents, because at the end of the day, no one's going to have the same type of parenting, and the success of a child and their life outcomes shouldn't be purely dependent upon the education of their parents. Do you know what I mean?
I also think though that we are breaking that I need to be grateful for every
Please.
and that's
Yes.
literally how I navigated every opportunity in TV. Like every time I was just grateful to be there, and I thought, no, like I deserve to also be here. I'm educated, I'm creative, I have worked hard more than my white peers, and I deserve to be here. Yes, thank you, but oh my gosh, it's not me now begging and accepting peanuts. I feel like we're slowly breaking out of that as well.
And standing in your power.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, ladies, for joining us today. Thank you for showing us like what it is to be a strong black woman, because I feel like the audience definitely needs that kind of role model. So thank you both. Plug your socials. Where can people find you? Where can people get at you or ask you for advice?
So Instagram, Lamaya_Sheree, Twitter, Maya_Sheree. I think TikTok, Lamaya_Sheree as well. So pretty straightforward. And then all of the links to like my organisation and to the Parliament stuff that we do is all on our social media pages as well.
Amazing. And you can find me everywhere on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, just chatting what I do. At Tiana Ramey.
Thank you so much for joining and watching this episode. I really hope you enjoyed it.
You can find us everywhere at The Hustle Table on pretty much all social media. See you later.